What I mean by that is that we're not just caring for a senior, we're caring for their story as well. They're not just a person of today, they're a culmination of everything that has come before. And it seems as if this particular generation of seniors, they have stories that show the major impact that they've had on what we see in the world today. Many of our clients are immigrants or children of immigrants who have helped shape our country. Many of them have participated in some capacity in one or more of the multiple wars of the last century. They've been part of the innovations of today. By knowing all of this history, we're able to care not only for their physical needs, but we're in a better position to help with other aspects of their lives as well. In addition, their stories and their lives are such a beautiful gift to us all. We feel so fortunate to be able to hear these experiences firsthand each and every day. We believe in a holistic view of senior care. We implement this view via our balanced care method, which is my favorite HCA program. It's the fundamental way we do business and train caregivers. This program is comprised of a number of components, including nutrition, physical activity, mental stimulation, social ties, and sense of purpose. Each of these components contribute not just to longevity, but a healthy longevity. Each and every one of our caregivers is trained to focus on balanced care when they're caring for our clients. Jem right here is an amazing example here. He was working with a client who just sat day in, day out, and he brought him to life. So I'm so glad you're here, Jem. Another exciting way in which we make a difference is through our cognitive therapeutics method. It's a series of brain exercises that has the potential to slow down the progression of short-term memory loss. It's an amazing program developed by our scientific division in conjunction with partners at Stanford University. It's individually tailored to each person so that it's significant directly to them. And it exercises 5 components of the brain, not just the memory. So come speak to any one of us if you want to hear more about our quality of life programs. For now, so each and every member of the HCA team feels such joy when we hear how we've made a difference. When we hear our clients and our caregivers are sharing a smile. And we know how making such a difference makes a difference in their families' lives as well. So now for the fun part, the award. So, really the greatest pleasure that I have in my day-to-day life at Home Care Assistance is getting to know our clients and our caregivers. They are each just incredible. So selecting just one recipient of the Lifetime Achievement Award was very difficult. Our client care managers shared one amazing story after another. When Nancy spoke about Dr. Gunther Rice, we knew we had found this year's winner. Gunther has much more than just a story. He has much more than just a journey. Allow me to spend a moment, I'm sorry, please indulge me, telling you just a little bit more about him before I introduce him to you.
I don't have any Kleenex.
I know, I'm warning you all, I'm going to be bawling by the end of this.
I am already.
All right. Gunther was a young Jewish boy living with his family in Germany when they were suddenly arrested and deported to Poland at the beginning of the Holocaust. His parents had had the forethought to know that something unspeakable was coming. And they had taken the terrible and life-saving step of putting him on the Kindertransport. For those of you who haven't heard of the Kindertransport, it was a foster program to save European children in areas of risk. These children were transported to England, where kind volunteer families took them in and raised them in order to spare them from certain death in their own countries. Gunther's parents essentially put him on a boat, knowing that they would likely never see him again. And they were right. So while he was figuring out the world at 14 years old, in a foreign country with a foreign language, his parents and sister perished at the hands of the Nazis. What did Gunther do? With no parental guidance, he figured it out. Through circumstance, luck, and opportunity combined with self-motivation, discipline, and remarkable instincts for self-preservation, Gunther grew up, worked, studied, and made his way to the United States. And he didn't stop there. He earned a doctorate in clinical psychology. He married an incredible woman, also a gifted therapist. I wish I had met her. and he decided that he needed to give back. Rather than feeling disconsolate about the loss of his family members and literally millions of countrymen and women, he was motivated to help others and to make the world a better place. Gunther and his wife, while raising 2 children, worked to help a great many people during their careers. They each had a tremendous impact on literally hundreds of lives, making a tangible difference in those families, creating a happier, more solid basis for generations to come. They also made a difference in the lives of many other psychologists and psychotherapists that they trained over the years. At the present time, Gunther continues to embrace the principles of the balanced care method. For example, he's a leader in both chess and book clubs. And significantly, just before his 90th birthday, he published his unique and inspirational story. We have the book here. In a book called Tell Everybody, Tell Everything, The Story of My Family and My Journey. Without further ado, I would like to introduce a man who both humbles and inspires all around him. With gratitude, I'd like to present the Home Care Assistance 2017
You're the care manager.
Lifetime Achievement Award.
That's for me, well, my name is on there.
I can't give it to anyone else.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, turn the award so we can see it.
Yeah.
And let Gunther hold it. Yes, there we are. That's better.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Should we put it down?
Yes.
It's beautiful.
This
You have a
is
few
not
words?
the- Yes, is this the time?
Please.
Oh, good. Yeah, you may
Sit on the
sit
floor.
down. Okay. Well,
All right.
I was asked to say a few words, and I have prepared some notes for this event. It's not going to be a big speech, so you can relax about that. I hope that you will indulge me as I read from my notes, because my memory is not as good as it used to be. Of course, my late wife would say it never was any good. So, without further ado, let me begin by, first of all, thanking very sincerely Marguerite, and Nancy, and whoever else participated in this conspiracy for the honor bestowed on me today, which came as a total surprise and is still something of a puzzle to me. So after much reflection and some searching for justification, I have come to think that the greatest achievement of my life is simply the fact that as a child I have survived some traumatic events and was able to live a normal life since then for the next 71 years in the US. But this is not so much an achievement as a miracle. I have not discussed my remarks with Marguerite, so there was no collusion. I had to speculate, though, what in my history could have moved her to select me for this honor. I wish you had told me what it was based on. I had no idea. So perhaps it was the early trajectory of my life. As a refugee and orphan, I first worked as a shoe salesman at age 16 in Cardiff, Wales. I next worked on a farm for just 2 weeks which is a story in itself. Boy, what I learned on that farm, amazing. I also had jobs after moving to London as an office clerk, a machinist in the factory, a dishwasher in a cafeteria. That may sound awful, but the cafeteria was for American Army officers only. It was open round the clock. We had lots of them in town, and I worked my way up and out of the dishwasher section to the supply room, and that was great. I had a sergeant from California, and I ate, of course, American food when the rest of the country was in rations. And he taught me how to eat a grapefruit with salt. That's how they do it in California. Everything he would say was, of course, the God-given truth. But I was also a bookkeeper, but most of all I was a student. And decades later, of course, a shrink. Now, perhaps it was my beautiful family, which I helped raise with my wife, without parental support or role models, which would qualify me as what qualifies a life achievement. But this is not the occasion to present to you my whole biography. For those of you who might be interested in the whole story, I would refer you to my book. It's gone. The title was Tell Everyone, Tell Everything. That's it. Thank you. In case you haven't seen it. The title, incidentally, comes from one of the last letters that I got from my sister before she was killed. She told me to get in touch with her boyfriend who made it out to London. So I should contacted him. And I learned that he had married. Oh, that upset me too. I wrote the book for my children and grandchildren as a legacy. Having been persuaded by my daughter to make it available also to friends and others, I had it published. It is available on Amazon. There are several copies here, but I'm not plugging it. I don't get any royalties or any sales commission. To make a long story short, I came to the United States in 1946. It's before your time. Just 1 year after the end of World War II, which I had spent in Britain. I was 20 years old, a stateless refugee, but a legitimate immigrant. A good thing Harry Truman was the president at the time.
Yeah.
Soon after my arrival, I received a government letter with the heading, "Greetings." You know what that is? Which requested me to appear at Fort Sheridan. Old-timers would know what that is, to get a letter that says greetings. That means get your act together and get over there so we can induct you into the armed forces. Let me tell you why I was glad to enlist in the U.S. Army. Back in London, before D-Day, the Yankees were swarming, getting ready for the Normandy invasion. The British were quite ambivalent about that. They complained that the Americans were overfed, overpaid, and oversexed. I thought that wasn't bad. and I wanted to join up.
Yeah. Let's get some more.
However, once in the United States, I volunteered, served in Korea before that war broke out. I was not well received by the GIs, though. I'll tell you why. Because I was the only one who liked the scrambled eggs that was for breakfast in the army. And those scrambled eggs was made up from powdered eggs and powdered milk. That's how I got my scrambled eggs. Well, back home in Chicago after discharge, I decided to study clinical psychology. I got my BA from Roosevelt College, now Roosevelt University, and my PhD from the Committee on Human Development at the University of Chicago. That was in 1960. Now, I had meanwhile married Celia, a wonderful girl from immigrant parents who was working as a clinical social worker. We had 2 children, a girl and a boy. My daughter Betty, where are you? A psychotherapist, commutes from Wisconsin every other week to be with me. Poor Joe.
Barb knows why.
And my son Ed, an attorney, he lives with his wife in Northbrook. They each have 2 beautiful kids. I am blessed that my dear children and 4 wonderful grandchildren, where are they? Just one.
You got 2 out of
There's
4.
one
And
Down.
Alisa.
down here.
Down here, down in front.
That my 4 wonderful grandchildren share their lives with me. They will not let me feel alone or isolated. Now, my late wife, who was also in private practice as a psychotherapist, had been suffering, she was suffering from deteriorating health for years. And she passed away in 2007, 10 years ago. She had many years of home health care, which enabled her to remain at home with us as long as was possible. I was her primary caregiver, but she had many others for years. I retired from my professional practice after she died 10 years ago. I must say, I have been blessed all along these years with relatively good health until February of last year, when I took a bad spill face down on a concrete pavement. My health, my life, and my image of myself changed at that point. With a good but partial recovery, I have now come to the point where I need some help at home, so I can continue to live independently, which I do at this time. And this is where home care assistance comes in. I'd like to say a few more words about that. When we sought help from home care, Nancy Hopkins came to my house to do the initial assessment. She was Nancy's. There you are. Okay. You can close your ears. She was very sympathetic and easy to talk to. Yes, there was inevitable paperwork, but I felt there was little red tape. The caregiver she had selected for us was an absolute natural, who proved to be not only dedicated to her work and extremely competent, but also very empathic and caring. I can honestly say that I always look forward to the days she comes. She comes 3 times a week. Her name is Jadwiga Czochara, but she likes to be called simply Jadzia. Now, when I heard her nickname and tried to remember it, I thought of Yad, which is the Hebrew word for hand. I never called her that, but I could more easily remember her by that name. And what's more, it was a most fitting association to her role with me, because she got to be kind of my right hand. In conclusion, I like to say that I consider myself very fortunate indeed, notwithstanding the terrible times in my life. I deeply appreciate the interest and support many others have shown me, and now I may add in gratitude the honor from the Home Care Association. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you so much for these wonderful remarks that added some amazing color, and we really appreciate hearing your thoughts. We appreciate you being here. Thank you. And now I think we'll transition to actually cutting that ribbon, which is part of the ribbon cutting, the reason that we're here. I'd like to introduce Alderman Hopkins.
Hi, everyone.
Do you have a few words you wanted to say, or should we just cut?
Sure. I have a 15-month-old baby at home, and we recently took him on a trip down to Mexico, and it was very exciting. His first time on an airplane and all that. When we got home after a long flight, and he's at the age where he's really only saying 2 words, Mama and Dada, but he was tired, and we brought him home, and as we walked in the door, he said very clearly, in a very distinct voice, home. This really the first word he said other than Mama and Dada, and it really got me thinking of what home means to us. It starts literally when we're born, and throughout the course of our lives, we will have many places that we call home. We'll move around, we'll get our mail forwarded, but the one thing they all have in common, it isn't really so much where we live, it's where we love. And it's where those who love us are closest to us. The importance of staying in your home at all phases of your life has never been more clear than it is today. And the work that you're doing is so essential as our population ages. And in my ward, I'm fortunate to be representing quite a large population of senior citizens. Many of them are friends of mine. Many of them I've known for years. They want to stay in their homes. They want to be able to meet the challenges that sometimes change almost on a daily basis. And with the assistance that they need, those are the choices that they now have. Whereas in the recent past, they might not have had those choices. So I commend you for what you're doing. I'm so honored to be a part of this ribbon cutting ceremony, and Mr. Rice, very much an honor to meet you and to hear your remarkable story of your life's journey as well. Thank you for being a part of this, and let's make it official.
You're gonna see this from
Lois?
Count to 3. 1, 2, 3.